a puppy!
Oh, why? So you can cheat on it with another puppy in a tacky tube top?
So my personal feelings on cheating is that it's a really intentional thing that you have to do to someone you're in a relationship with. I think oftentimes the way cheating is presented to us is that it's just this mistake that just happened, holistically out of the control of the perpetrator. I feel like that's just a way to distance people from any sort of responsibility. So that's my personal bias going into this conversation. I don't think cheating is just a mistake, especially if it's something that goes on for a period of time. Like, that's a pretty intentional effort to step outside of your relationship. So Disney has addressed the topic of cheating in relationships in their TV shows before, but I've always kind of had an issue with the way it's addressed and presented to us. Especially since when cheating is addressed in these shows, the girls are always the ones getting cheated on, and I think it's important to look at the ways in which girls are kind of being told how to respond or react to being betrayed this way in a relationship. So there's two instances of cheating that I want to look into. Hannah Montana with Miley and Jake, and Good Luck Charlie with Teddy and Spencer. Now, in both of these instances, the girls are in long-term committed relationships with their boyfriends, and they both get cheated on. But I've always had an issue with the larger context of them getting cheated on, as well as both of their responses to getting cheated on, but for two very different reasons. So now let's look into each of these different circumstances of how cheating is portrayed in Disney Channel shows. So, in Hannah Montana, Miley ends up in a relationship with TV and movie star Jake Ryan. They first meet each other in the episode New Kid in School. In the episode, a new kid transfers to Miley's school, Jake Ryan. He's a famous child actor appearing in different movies and TV shows. After arriving at school, Jake receives a lot of attention and special treatment due to him being famous. Miley starts to feel jealous about all the attention Jake gets for being famous, and actually tells a reporter she's Hannah Montana out of frustration, but was eventually able to cover it up.
I'm Hannah Montana. I'm ready for my close-up.
In a moment of vulnerability, Jake admits that he often wishes he could have a normal life away from all the fame. Miley realizes how lucky she is to have her secret identity, but sees a different, less narcissistic side to Jake that she actually likes. In another episode, More Than a Zombie to Me, Hannah gets casted in a guest appearance on Jake's Zombie Hunter TV show, and at school, Jake asks Miley out to the dance, but she turns him down, still thinking he's a bit stuck up and into himself and being famous. In fact, Miley's so not into him that she even tries to get out of a kissing scene that she has to do with Jake in the TV show. However, while on set, Jake confides in Hannah that he's struggling to get the girl that he likes to go with him to the dance. He tells her that the reason he likes Miley so much is because she's so down to earth and isn't at all impressed by his fame. After hearing this, Miley starts developing real feelings for Jake. Only at this point, it's a little too late. Jake asks Lily out to the dance instead, thinking it's about time he moved on from Miley. Miley gets really jealous at the idea of Jake and Lily going out and crashes the school dance to steal Jake from Lily. The girls get into a fight over Jake before eventually realizing that their friendship is more important than a boy. They decide to forget about Jake for now and enjoy the dance together, even though they both still have feelings for him. In another episode, Good Golly, Miss Dolly, Miley is accidentally recorded professing her love for Jake. Through a convoluted series of events, including Dolly Parton dressing up as a spy and doing crazy aerial gymnastics, Miley was able to get the tape back before Jake could see it, and finds out that she likes him. But it also meant that she was right back where she started, hopelessly in love with Jake and him not having a clue. Eventually, she works up the courage to tell Jake how she feels, except he's already started dating another girl. Miley feels discouraged at first, but after some motivation from Aunt Dolly and her dad, decides to not give up. In another episode, People Who Use People, Miley gets jealous after seeing Jake with a girl. She decides to make him jealous by getting with a random guy on the beach. She meets this guy Willis and starts flirting with him after finding out that he's a senior. Willis asks Miley out and she agrees to make Jake jealous, but Jake also asks to join with his own date, making it a double date. Miley and the gang arrives to the venue and finds out that Willis isn't a high school senior, but an elementary school senior.
What you talking about, Willis?
When Jake arrives, the secret comes out and Miley is completely embarrassed. However, Jake doesn't tell anyone about it and actually feels sorry for her. He tells her that his relationship with Holly was all just a publicity stunt, and after a bit of back and forth, Jake finally kisses Miley. They agree to start dating, but Jake lets Miley know that he's actually leaving the country for a few months to film a new movie. Miley gets really upset and pushes him off the ledge. A whole season later, and we learn that Jake is back in town after filming his movie. Jake really wants to win Miley back, but she's not interested at all after he kissed her and left her. He keeps trying though and sends her a bunch of lavish gifts to win her back. Eventually, she does decide to forgive him and asks him if he wants to go on a date that night, except he can't because he has to pretend to be dating his co-star in the movie. Miley again gets super angry and kicks him out. On the night of the premiere, Jake arrives on the red carpet with his fake date, but during an interview, Jake admits that he's not actually dating his co-star and is actually in love with Miley on national television. After the confession, Miley decides to actually give Jake another chance, and they kiss and officially start dating. Miley and Jake's relationship goes good at first, but after Jake shares his deeper secret with her, that his name is Leslie, Miley starts to feel guilty that she can't be as completely honest with him because of the Hannah secret. Eventually, she decides to tell Jake that she's also Hannah Montana. He struggled a little bit with it at first, but was able to come around to the idea. So now Jake knows Miley's secret and they can be completely honest with each other as they start dating. But Miley is struggling to be with Jake because of how much people bother them when they're out. Jake decides to create his own alternate identity to blend in and be normal so they don't get hounded while he's out with Miley. Although Jake struggles with the reality of just being a normal guy and not getting special treatment and lashes out in some narcissistic ways, Miley decides that Jake is too insufferable to be with and decides that she has to break up with him, but she's scared that if she breaks up with him and upsets him, he'll reveal her secret about being Hannah Montana to the world. So instead, she decides to embarrass him to push him into breaking up with her. Miley tries her best to embarrass Jake enough for him to break up with her. Eventually, he figures this out and is offended that Miley thinks that he would ever tell anyone her secret. So he leaves angrily, saying that he would do just that. However, he ends up sending Miley some flowers and apologizes for his behavior, promising to become the kind of person she could be with and promising to keep her secret safe. Jake returns again in season 3, Jake Another Piece of My Heart. In this episode, we find out that Jake and Tracy are engaged to be married. Miley makes it her mission to stop the wedding, thinking it would be a huge mistake for them to get married that young. We eventually find out that it was all a ruse for a prankster-type TV show and Hannah was the victim. Jake feels that Miley being that jealous though was a sign of her still being interested in him. They argue and Miley kisses him to prove that she doesn't like him, but they both really enjoy the kiss. In the episode special, He Could Be the One, we learn that Miley and Jake have been dating ever since their kiss and they've been keeping it a secret. Miley is particularly hesitant about telling her dad about her and Jake because of how much he hates Jake. Lily eventually finds out about Miley and Jake though, and Miley decides that she has to let her father know before it goes any further. She tries her best to soften it up to the news, but is never able to bring herself to do it. Miley decides to leverage her father's distaste for her guitar player Jesse to warm him up to the idea of Jake. Jesse is a bad boy guitar player who has a reputation for being a player. Her dad doesn't like his attitude and how he treats girls, so he tells Miley to stay away from him. But Jesse's interested in dating Hannah, but because she's dating Jake and her dad told her to stay away from him, she turned him down. Now, in order to warm her dad up to the idea of Jake, Hannah pretends to be interested in Jesse, which would make Jake the lesser of two evils. Her dad realizes what she's trying to do and decides to respect Miley's decision to be with Jake again and gives her his support. Jesse, however, was not pleased with being used and lets Hannah know that he actually has real feelings for her. She turns him down again, but they write a really catchy song together and she starts to develop real feelings for Jesse in the process. Eventually, Jake finds out Miley has feelings for Jesse too.
Boy, do I want to kiss you!
And Jesse and Jake both tell Miley that she should choose between them. And this was the big build-up of the whole special. Who will Miley choose? Jesse or Jake? Miley struggles with her choice and her dad shows her old footage of her mom telling her to listen to her heart and that everything will be just fine. And I have no idea why her mom would just randomly make that video. And why was that the only video? Did her mom knew she was gonna die? Anyways, then a magical force drops down a picture of Jesse and Miley realizes she was disappointed that it wasn't Jake. So she tells Jesse that she's choosing Jake and he takes it really well and Miley reaffirms her relationship with Jake. Now, there was actually an alternate scene filmed where Miley chooses Jesse instead of Jake. I think the writers want to explore both options to see which one would be worth exploring, but decided on Jake for whatever reason, because a whole season later, he cheats on her. In the episode, it's the end of Jake as we know it. Oliver visits Lily and Miley for a weekend, but has bad news. He caught a picture of Jake cheating on Miley. Miley is in the process of putting on a Christmas special as Hannah Montana when Andy Samberg drops out last minute. As a replacement, she thinks to ask her boyfriend to be a part of the special, also because she misses him as she hardly gets to spend time with him. He agrees to do the special, but Lily and Oliver don't think it would be a good idea to let Miley know about Jake cheating, as it might ruin her special. While on the set though, it spilled out about Jake cheating on Miley, and Miley confronts Jake on set and beats the living hell out of him, apologizes saying it was a one-time thing and just a big mistake, but Miley doesn't want to give him a second chance and they officially break up, which, yeah, that was the right choice. As the season goes on, Miley would eventually start dating Jesse again, and that was the last time we ever saw of Jake. Now, my whole issue with the Miley and Jake storyline is that I really do think it could have been an interesting relationship on paper, but in execution, it was clumsily done. Jake represented a version of fame for Miley if she never had her secret identity, almost like a peek into what life would be like if she was just Hannah Montana all the time. And I really liked his introduction because it underscored the idea of why Miley even has the secret identity to begin with. At first, she was really jealous of all the attention Jake was getting, but realized the kind of experience Jake misses out on because of his fame, how her having a normal life actually allows her to just be herself. And the relationship between Jake and Miley seems to allow Jake to experience that normalcy that he claimed to have always wanted in his introduction. He wants to know what it's like to have a normal life, and his relationship with Miley kind of gave him the opportunity to do so. And there are so many points throughout the show where it looks like Jake is being changed by his relationship with Miley, where he's becoming less self-centered, less narcissistic, but they always just pull him right back to the beginning of being a narcissistic, self-centered jerk. My whole issue with the cheating thing is that even though I appreciate that they never swept the cheating under the rug and have her get together with him and forgive him, it's crazy to me that during the whole he could be the one storyline, they made it seem like Jake was the love of her life, that there was some divine destiny that pulled them together, only to have him cheating on her in the end. What was the point of all of that? It just bothers me that they would make it up to be like they were endgame, the love of her life, and have him cheat on her. I think the reason that even happened was they just really wanted to move on from the Jake relationship. This was Jake's first and only appearance in season 4, so coming from, again, that divine relationship they presented to us in the previous season, they would need a really big reason why Miley would break up with Jake and move on to Jesse. And what bigger reason is there than him cheating on her? So I think Jake cheating was more of a way out for the writers, but it still bothers me that they made what was presented as her true love cheat on her. I at least appreciate she didn't go back to the relationship. That can't be said for the other relationship. Now let's look at another relationship between Teddy and Spencer. So this relationship is really the one that inspired me to make this video, because unlike Miley, Teddy ended up with Spencer even though he cheated on her. So Teddy and Spencer's relationship really started taking shape since the pilot episode Study Date. Amy is officially off maternity leave after having Charlie and is ready to go back to work and needs all the kids to stay home to help their dad look after Charlie. Teddy, however, planned a study date with a cute guy from school, Spencer, someone she was hoping to make a good first impression on. Amy tells Teddy that she has to stay home, so instead Teddy invites Spencer over for them to study. It's very clear that they're both really into each other, and throughout the episode he makes several attempts to get closer to her and they even almost kiss. But her family keeps getting in the way and nothing ever happens. Even Bob ended up having to go to the hospital after falling down the stairs with Charlie. The episode dance off, Teddy gets another chance to officially start something with Spencer. There's a dance coming up and she asks him out to the dance. However, in order to get a ride to the dance, Teddy's best friend Ivy had to ask out Emmett to the dance because he's the only one with a car. But he's also hopelessly in love with Teddy.
When you touch me, it feels like electricity.
Throughout the night, Teddy tries multiple times to get a first kiss with Spencer, but Emmett goes out of his way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Emmett, if he leans anymore, he'll fall out of the car.
More.
Including pulling Spencer away for an impromptu dance competition. Eventually, with the help of Ivy, Teddy was able to get her first kiss with Spencer, and since that episode, they officially start dating. And it didn't take too long for everything to go to shit, because in the episode Girl Bites Dog, when Spencer visits Teddy to hang out, Charlie bit him, which is something she's never done before. She also threw stuff at him. Like, Charlie was trying to get Spencer out of there. Eventually, that put a strain on Teddy's relationship with Spencer, as he would avoid being around her if Charlie was ever present. Ivy tells Teddy that babies are the best judges of character, and that maybe Charlie lashing out at Spencer might mean that something is wrong with him. Teddy decides to surprise Spencer at work to apologize and work through stuff, and she sees him with his arm around another girl. When Teddy confronts him about cheating on her, he says that the girl, Skylar, was his cousin. Teddy apologizes, and the next day she goes back to Spencer's job and sees Skylar again and apologizes to her as well. That's when they both find out that they've both been dating Spencer and he lied to both of them. Teddy dumps Spencer, but not before getting a little revenge. Teddy has a hard time dealing with the end of her relationship, and in the next episode, Teddy is very depressed over it and struggles to even get out of bed. Eventually, her best friend Ivy thinks the best way for Teddy to get over it is to talk to someone who knows exactly what she's going through. So she introduces her to Skylar, the other girl Spencer cheated on her with, and the two cry and talk it out. In talking through it, Teddy does start to feel better, and Skylar said that the breakup inspired her to write music, and the breakup inspired Teddy to write a poem. So Teddy has the idea to put the two together to create a song and record a video dissing Spencer and post it on the internet to embarrass him, the way he embarrassed them. And I gotta say, this song slaps. To this day, I know every single word.
Hey everybody, can you dig? Spencer Walsh is a two-timing pig.
Spencer comes around, however, and apologizes to Teddy about the whole situation, saying that it was the dumbest thing that he's ever done. He begs for Teddy to take him back. Teddy says the situation has caused her not to be able to trust him again. The talk did convince her not to post the video though, as she didn't think getting revenge on him would be the right decision anymore. Later in a two-part episode special, the Duncan family takes a family vacation up to the mountains for Amy and Bob's wedding anniversary. While there, Teddy meets a psychic who gives her a reading. She tells her that a bunch of stuff would happen to her while on her trip, including coming face to face with the love of her life. At first, Teddy was very skeptical about the readings, not believing any of them would actually come true, but one by one, each of them did. Eventually, Teddy comes face to face with two really attractive guys, and eventually, Spencer. Since the other predictions came true, Teddy now feels that one of the three guys, including Spencer, could be the love of her life, and she really doesn't want it to be Spencer. With the help of Ivy, Teddy explores the potential relationships with the two other guys, getting to know each of them better to see if they would be the ideal type. But she gets the ick with each of them, and honestly, these two are very reasonable icks.
That's cause I didn't throw it yet.
Hi, Mommy. I'm in the lobby with some girls. No, they're not prettier than you.
I'm with Teddy all the way here. But with the other two guys out of the competition, that means that Spencer would be the love of her life. While going skiing, Spencer ambushes Teddy to talk. Teddy's not really interested in being with Spencer, but he tells her how much he missed her and that he felt compelled to come up to the mountains to see her after he found out that she was going to be there. They share a kiss and Teddy seems to enjoy it. Later that day, Bob and Amy are getting married again, and in her vows, Amy says that she falls in love with Bob every time she kisses him. Teddy realizes that she doesn't feel the same way about Spencer, and tells him that she doesn't want to get back together with him, and he leaves disappointed. Throughout season 2, Spencer and Teddy maintain a friendship. That all changes in the episode Can You Keep a Secret? Teddy has been working at Super Adventureland as a cast member in the Princess on the Frog show. The frog was originally being played by Emmett, but Spencer took over and got the job, which meant Teddy would be working at a job where she would be required to kiss her ex-boyfriend over and over again. Teddy only took the job to save up to buy a car and is dreading having to kiss Spencer. However, on the first date together, after the kiss, Teddy runs away. Spencer chases after her to make sure she's okay, and he tells her that he'll quit the job if working with him is too much for her. But Teddy tells him that she really likes the kiss and that she doesn't know what to do. Spencer again apologizes for cheating on Teddy, and this time she agrees to give him another chance and the two officially start dating again. However, Teddy's parents bought her a car so that she would be able to quit her job and not actually have to kiss Spencer. Teddy works up the courage to eventually tell her parents that she's back together with Spencer, and they allow her to keep the car as long as she keeps her job at Super Adventureland and pays them back. Amy then threatens Spencer, and Teddy and Spencer are officially back together.
Bam!
However, in season 3, Spencer gets accepted to a performing arts school in Boston, meaning he'd have to move away from Denver. Spencer and Teddy officially break up again and begin to date other people. In another episode, Doppeldate, Teddy decides to start dating again after Spencer tells her he's seeing someone else, but the guy she dates looks exactly like Spencer. Teddy realizes she's not completely over him and decides to take some time away from dating again. Ironically, the girl Spencer is seeing also looks exactly like Teddy, so he's not over her either. Teddy eventually starts dating Bo, her dad's co-worker, and the relationship was going good. And can you believe these two guys are the same person? Anyways, in the episode Teddy's Choice, Teddy is celebrating her 18th birthday when Spencer surprises her with a visit. He tells her that he wants to get back together with her, and Teddy has to choose between Bo and Spencer, and she chooses Bo, which was crazy. She even told Spencer that they could still be friends, but Spencer says that because he's still in love with her, he can't even be friends with her. I really did think that that was the last chapter on Spencer. It seems that the show is going down the route of Teddy would end up with someone like her dad, and that her parents' marriage would mirror her own relationship with Bo. So I actually thought Bo was endgame, but out of nowhere he gets a job offer in Tennessee and he takes it. So he leaves and he and Teddy breaks up after she chose him over Spencer, which is just, come on. But out of nowhere, in the final episode, Spencer comes back and gets together with Teddy as she leaves for college, and honestly, that really bothered me. I liked Spencer. I felt like the relationship with Teddy was really cute, but it felt like them getting back together came out of nowhere. There were so many opportunities where the should Teddy forgive Spencer and get back with him idea was explored, and each time I felt like they made the right decision, which was, as great as Spencer was to Teddy, he betrayed her and she didn't have to forgive him. She could move on to bigger and better things. And that, no, actually, the greatest love of your life doesn't have to be filled with strife, cheating, and lying. But then in season 2, after what I felt was a hard no to them rekindling their relationship, they were actually like, no, they're gonna get back together. Now, like Miley and Jake, I think this was just a circumstance of convenience for production rather than it naturally serving the story. In case you didn't know, Bridget Mendler and Shane Harper started dating each other in real life, and so I think that was probably the reason why they decided to just let the characters be together in the show, because the actors were already dating. The thing is, cheating is a thing that happens, so I don't have an issue with the shows tackling that issue. There's just this thing about these two situations where the show builds up these guys
Good.
Fine.
Fine.
Going home.
of these young girls' lives, a magical force moving pictures into place, a psychic making predictions that eventually came true, all for them to end up cheating on their girlfriends anyway. What is the message there? That if you're a girl, the big love of your life is probably going to cheat on you? And it does happen in real life. I think the issue is that I've always found it weird that these situations would keep happening and the way in which the shows chose to handle the situations. I do appreciate that in the case of Miley, she left after Jake cheated. I just wish they never played so much into the they were destined to be with each other forever. I think the writers at the time just wanted them to end up together, but by the final season wanted to move on from the whole Jake and Miley thing. And the only way to accomplish that after the whole He Could Be the One episode was to have him do something so unforgivable as cheating. Also, I think it's interesting that Jake kind of disappeared from the show after that happened. We went straight from He Could Be the One, Miley choosing to date Jake in season 3, to season 4 when he's cheating on her. I wonder if maybe the actor wasn't available or if the writers just didn't know what to do with Jake as a character. But I always thought it was weird that we never saw him again after they got together. Then with the Teddy and Spencer situation, it seems like Spencer was never really intended to be a long-term relationship, that it was really just for the moment, and he cheated and it was supposed to be over. But I really do think that Bridget Mendler and Shane Harper dating in real life motivated the writers to actually bring them back together. Because like I said, there were multiple times throughout season 1 where they could have gotten back together, and Teddy was very firm in her decision that she couldn't trust him again and that she didn't like him. All for that to go out the window. Now, I'm not here to tell anyone how to navigate this situation in real life, so please don't be offended by anything I'm saying. This was just something I noticed and thought it was interesting. I've also talked about my own personal bias when it comes to cheating. Just personally, I never thought of it as just a mistake, something that just happens unexpectedly. Like, you have to be really intentional at every step of the way to cheat on someone. Like, it's not an accident. This is just how I approach the conversation. So if you stayed with someone who cheated on you, that's fine. We all have to make the best decision for ourselves. I'm just talking here. And part of my motivation for making this video is because when I was younger, seeing all these storylines played out, I was like, damn, maybe the love of your life will just cheat on you. but that's not necessarily the case at all. Again, I really do love the fact that Miley ended her relationship with Jake after finding out, but I hated that Teddy stayed with Spencer. Especially since in the episode since, there are times where they kind of make him seem like an absent-minded boyfriend, that he doesn't really care that much. There was that one episode where Teddy said the same thing, that she sometimes feels that she cares more about him than he does about her. But I do think Spencer cares. He was like, he counted down the hours when they were broken up because that's how much it hurt him, but it's like, then why did you cheat? And I just want it to be a better depiction to show young girls that, hey, if a guy cheats on you, you don't have to forgive him. Like, you can leave, you can move on and find a new love, better love. Like, it doesn't have to be the end all be all. Anyways, that's it. Those are my thoughts about Disney cheating. Overall, I don't think we've ever seen a really healthy relationship on Disney, because even though Mason didn't cheat on Alex, their relationship was toxic as hell. I think the best relationship we've ever seen was Sunny and Chad, but that's just my thought. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about all of this. Do you agree with any of my points? Were you also disappointed that these guys cheated? And what do you think was the best relationship we ever saw on Disney? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.